structures. Drops of fluid containing the tiny particles were injected directly into their eyes where, using special anchors, they latched on tightly to photoreceptor cells. Photoreceptor cells, the rods and cones, normally absorb the wavelengths of incoming visible light which the brain interprets as sight. In the experiment, however, the newly introduced nanoparticles up-converted, becoming incoming NIR into a visible wavelength, which the mouse brain was then capable of processing as visual information. In this case, they saw NIR as greenish light. The nanoparticles clung for nearly 2 months, allowing the mice to see both NIR and visible light with minimal side effects. Essentially, the nanoparticles on the photoreceptor cells served as a transducer or convertible for infrared light. The longer infrared wavelengths were captured by the retina by the nanoparticles, which then relayed them as shorter wavelengths within the visible light range. The rods and cones, built to absorb the shorter wavelengths, were thus able to accept the signal and then send this up-converted information to the visual cortex for processing. Specifically, the injected particles absorbed NIR around 980 nanometers in wavelength and converted it to light in the area of 535 nanometers. For the mice, this was translated to seeing the infrared light as the color green. The result was similar to seeing NIR with night vision goggles, except that the mice were able to retain their normal view of visible light as well. As noted, the effect was temporary, lasting a few weeks, with some mice experiencing cloudy corneas which cleared up quickly. To prove the method really worked, Tian and Gang set up a series of tests and experiments. And I'm not going to go into all of those experiments, but in a press release, Tian said the nanoparticles clung to both rods and cones and were activated by the near-infrared light, so we believe this technology will also work in human eyes, not only for generating supervision, two words instead of one, supervision, but also for therapeutic solutions in humans' red color vision deficits. So I think that while I, as a paranormal investigator, am excited to be able to have night vision, because think of all the batteries that would save me. But I also,
Yeah.
but I think that to be able to have an opportunity to have improved vision, it's just so neat. You know, the fact that this is something we're already being geared up as like superhumans in some shape, form, or fashion. I've had LASIK. I'm in physical therapy, which I'm experiencing all these wonderful gadgets and doolalies on top of regular everyday things. You know, we have bionic knees and shoulders and elbows and hips. All of this technology is coming to the front, and I think this is the one that I'm really the most excited about, to be able to develop our vision to the point of, because you know they're going to move on to other spectrums. So
but other people are approaching this problem right now too, and it's really a military project. You may think it's neat, and I think it's neat, but the first applications are military, and nanoparticles are very controversial with a lot of people because they're AI, artificial intelligence, and can learn from experience, that is data collected. But I just wrote an article about American scientists who based research on deep sea creatures that secrete, well, they have a chemical, and this chemical gives them basically night vision. And so these enterprising scientists made eye drops out of this chemical, chlorine, and it's chlorine E6. And this is comparable to what you said about the nanoparticles. Very interesting.
I like the fact that they do drop out. They last 10 weeks. And if you knew that you were going to a once-in-a-lifetime location and you wanted to be able to utilize that vision, I would consider doing that.
I just watched a fiction movie where a mad scientist type released a vial full of kind of ladybug looking like nanoparticles on little legs and he was holding this guy's eye open, and the nanoparticles went in through the lids, the top and bottom lids, and the guy was saying, ow, that hurts. And the doctor said, no, that doesn't hurt, but in 2 weeks they will be excreted in your urine, and that might sting a little bit.
Something to ponder. How are they coming out? Indeed.
The eye drops just wear off.
Right. That makes me wonder, with all this technology that we're sitting here discussing with this, how much stuff that we'll be able to see that we normally can't see in a normal spectrum.
I was just going to say, isn't there, and I'm not a theologian, although I do love theology. I study it, but doesn't it say somewhere that if mankind could see the spirit world, we would go mad?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, isn't that like, I'm thinking God made us perfect, like for what we need to be on this planet. Yes, it wouldn't be awesome to have super abilities. You just wonder what the repercussions would be and why God chose not to add us with things like, thermal vision or night vision or ultraviolet vision or infrared or whatever,
I guess that would kind of make me one of the odd birds out, because I'd love to have that and see.
Well, I would too.
I
think we're all raising our hands, although, right, it's it sounds odd. And Gene's right too. This stuff, the military's already got stuff going on with this.
Well, sure they do. They've already, anything that we are reading, they have done 20 years ago, basically.
Yep.
Easy.
That's for sure.
And the 20-year mark is, I've been told, is pretty dead on as a rule. But
something?
Huh?
I'm sorry.
Tom was going to say something.
I'm sorry.
No, that's quite all right. Go ahead, finish. Or Don can.
I would like to hear what Don has to say.
Oh no, it wasn't much. I was just saying that every species has a special gift, and for science to enhance in any way one of the gifts in any way, I believe anyway, is wrong unless it is to enhance a disability. Like if someone was blind, for instance, or colorblind, would this medical achievement help them? Then it is okay. But for a person or a scientist to put something to enhance a normal being or animal, that's just playing God.
There's a lot of that going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people are loving on that.
And another thing I was touched up on is not just the military. There are conglomerates out there, too, that have secret programs. Of course, they're in bed with the military anyways, right? And they share information behind the scenes to some extent, although I know a lot of it's I can't say that word, decompartmentalized.
Decompartmentalized.
Thank you.
That thing.
I had a childhood speech impairment, and every so often it will come out, and there will be a word I just cannot say. But anyways.
Tongue twister.
Yeah. Anyone else have any?
Oh, well, I think Don made a very good point that let us just say that the medical industry, or profession, I should say, believes or states that perfect eyesight is 20/20 vision, whatever that really means scientifically, and I'm no optician by any means, optometrist. Okay, 20/20 vision is our standard. It's okay to adjust vision with contact lenses or a surgery or an implant or a technology to bring vision that isn't 20/20 into line with 20/20. But there's quite a bit of difference between that and stretching the extent of perception into infrared, ultraviolet, and as Jen implied, maybe who's to say, other dimensional realms, maybe wouldn't it be cool to be able to see into 4D or 5D, another dimension? I mean, isn't this where this sort of research is leading?
I think that would be the part that would drive you mad.
Well, I'm sure, it's very possible that there have been people that have gone mad because being tested on by the deep state for stuff like this. We're going to just try this and tell me what happens. And all of a sudden, they can see in a different dimension. And who knows? For all we know, I'm sorry, you're stuck with that for the rest of your life. How is that working for you?
Or you're just simply removed.
Or, yeah.
Well, you look at it, the people that already have the gift of sight where they can see into the other worlds, a lot of them do not accept that as a gift. A lot of them actually go mad. They go crazy because the spirits won't leave them alone. They are constantly contacting them. They constantly see them everywhere. They hear them everywhere. They're going mad. So now if they inject something into your eye that you automatically all of a sudden go into the next dimension and you start seeing this stuff, yeah, chances are if you're not expecting it, if you just think, oh, yeah, I'll be able to see a new color out there in the wild or stuff like that, or a new star I can see, and all of a sudden you see people that have died walking past you, I think you're going to go crazy.
That would be disconcerting if you weren't prepared.
Yeah.
But think about the applications for night vision. Everyone who hunts animals, and I'm not endorsing it or not endorsing it, but any hunter listening to this would go, night vision, eye drops, or micro critters? You bet. Sign me
Ghost
up.
Hunter, sign me up.
And will Walmart be selling this stuff?
Eventually. And the price will end in 88.
In 20 years?
Or
Is that what
98.
you're saying? In 20 years we can have it?
I don't know if they'll let Walmart sell it, but I would venture to guess that would be a yes.
There'll be a black market for it.
I don't think it's going to go black market. I think it's going to be like the what do they call them? The things that go with the video games, the virtual reality kind of things.
Yeah.
That wasn't supposed to be either.
Anything that sells, Walmart will grab onto it.
Truth. You are right.
Just develop cameras that do the same thing. Never mind my eyes. Don't mess with Mother Nature.
Yep.
Oh,
What about knee implants?
okay, everybody, we're going to continue this conversation because we're not done with this topic. After this commercial break, you're listening to Paraversal Universe. We will be right back with our panel after these breaks.
You are listening to WPHM Digital Broadcasting. The best in paranormal talk radio.